Demai Perek Vav Mishnah Yud. Demai Perek Vav Mishnah Yud. In the last Mishnah we talked about when you have a Chaver and a Ma'aretz that inherited their father's land, then the Chaver could not say to the Ametz, Tola Tachitim v'Anisarav, you take one and I take the other. Because there's a prohibition about a Chaver transferring or exchanging tevel or non-mitukan produce for mitukan produce. Okay, so you're not allowed to do that. That's the case of the Chaver and Ma'aretz that inherited from their father. Interesting case. Ger v'goyer goy sheyarshu et avihem goy. So you have two brothers, two biological brothers, and their father is a goy, obviously, and one of the brothers is a goy, and one of them is a ger, one of them converted. So they inherited the property from their father, and obviously we're talking about their father was an idolater, and he left them all kinds of stuff, like, he left them the idols, and he left them his wine, and he left them all kinds of stuff. So he says, Yachol hu lomar. In this case, the ger, the Jewish brother, can say, Tola ta'avodah zarah v'ani ma'ot. You take the avodah zarah and I'll take the money. Ata yayin, you take the yayin nesech, which is asur b'hana'ah, v'ani perot. Hey, what happened? Why in the last case did we said lo yomar lo? You're not allowed to exchange demai for mitukan, but here the ger is allowed to exchange ki'ilu with his brother. So says the Bartanura, even though the transferring avodah kochavim, meaning the things that you are exchanging for avodah kochavim and yayin nesech are prohibited for hana, it's asur b'hana'ah. Hacha, in this case, share, the rabbis permitted it ad shelo ba'u liyado, until you actually receive it. Why? Mishum yerushat ger et aviv eina min haTorah ela midivrei sofrim. I.e., when a ger inherits from his father, he doesn't inherit midoraita. Let's go back to the first case. When a Jew inherits, sheyarshu et avihem, when the father dies, immediately the property belongs to the brothers, and now they have to split it up. So therefore, when the Chaver says to the Amar Aretz, you take chitim and I'll take seorim, then what really they're doing is selling one to the other because they actually have ownership in it. According to the halacha, there's a very fascinating principle. The principle is called ger shenit gayer kekatan shenolad dami. When a ger converts, it's as if he's born. He's like a child that's born, which means ger shenit gayer, a ger that converts, me'abed et zikato lemishpachto hakodemet. I'm looking at the Encyclopedia Yehudit of Dat, the Dat website. He loses his connection to his original family. V'hareu kamish nolad ze'ata she'en lo krovim ba'olamo. According to the halacha, when a ger converts, he no longer has any blood relatives. He has been born into a new existence, a new reality. So therefore, when we say here yarshu, that the ger inherits, it's only midrabanan. The halachically midoraita, the ger does not inherit his father, because halachically his father is not his father. When he converted, he no longer has halachic parents. He might have biological parents. He doesn't have halachic parents. It's just interesting to note that this, especially today, is a very complicated issue. Way back when, not so long ago historically, when a ger would be mitgayer, he really would abandon his original family. Today, a ger really maintains contact with his original family, which can make things somewhat complicated, very complicated, especially in a Jewish community, in a religious community. How do you raise your children in a religious community when their grandparents, who they're supposed to have a connection to, are not connected at all to any Jewish values? They may be respectful and wonderful people, but they represent totally different values. So therefore, the halacha says that this idea of ger shenit gayer kekatan shenolad dami, that the ger abandons his previous life. And for this reason, when the non-Jew passes away, his son, the ger, does not inherit him midoraita. So therefore, the Rabbanan said he's only inherit the Rabbanan. It's not officially his. And for that reason, Yachol hu lomar, he can say, Tola ta'avodah zarah v'ani ma'ot. I'll trade you. We'll divvy up. You take the avodah zarah that I can't use, I can't benefit from it. I'll take the money. You take the yayin v'ani perot. You take the wine, I'll take the fruit. Why? Because we're not exchanging. It's not a chalipin. It's not a transaction. Because it was never really mine. It didn't belong to me. Okay, below dami, says the Bartanura, the chaver v'am haaretz sheyashu et aviyem am haaretz. It's not comparable to a chaver and haaretz that are inherited. Da'afilu kodem sheba'u liyado, even before it came into their hands, Asur lamar tol atachitim ve'anisa orim. Even before they actually physically acquired it, you couldn't say that. Why? The hatam have a Yerusha deoraita. Then it's a Yerusha min haTorah. As if it belongs to them. So therefore, in this case, it's the Rabbanan. Why did the Rabbanan give a Yerusha to the ger? It's very fascinating. The Rambam says the following. I'm reading it from the Kahati. Shema Yamir, one second, Elash Yaresh Oto Mitakanat Chachamim. He inherits, the ger inherits according to the decree of the Chachamim. Shema Yamir v'yachzor lidato kedei l'reshet et aviv. Perhaps we're afraid that he will become an apostate and return to his previous religion to inherit. If we forbid him from inheriting, media right, that's not yours. So if we say you can't take it at all, Rambam says we were afraid that the ger would say, you know what? My father left me $10 million. It's not worth it to be a Jew for $10 million. I'm going back to the other religion. And we didn't want him to do that because he's a Jew. L'chol inyan l'chol davar. A very fascinating view of the Rambam. According to this, the decree, why the gzeira, why the ger inherits his father, is somewhat disturbing. What about his commitment? What about, yes, he was Mekabel. Would he do it for money? How many of us would stand up to that test? Let's just finish the Mishnah. But what if once the ger took physical possession of the avodah zarah or the wine, then asur. Then it's his. And then if he trades with his brother, then he really is trading in prohibited contraband, prohibited material. Okay, as always, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com, and we'll dedicate this learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.